Everyone, it's Strawberry Witch here, back with another art journaling video. And now I have to push those bees out of the way every time I do a journal entry so they do not fuck up my page. But today we're doing 4 NPCs. Furaha on the top, Senja down there on the bottom, Ez over there, and Aunika. And you may recognize Senja because if you saw my last art journaling video, I did a couple spread with him and Xavius. So if you didn't watch that video, I suggest you do because that's the one with the bees on it that I kind of went off on, to be very honest with you. Put my whole, I don't know what to say that is appropriate, but yeah, I put my whole life and soul into that. I put my whole life and soul into that journal entry. But if you did not watch that video, then I'll tell you that Senja is a bee fairy. And he was adopted by his 2 moms in the Feywild. And they lived in the Feywild, I think, for his growing up, his growth period. And then he moved, and he traveled for a bit, and then he ended up in Lustile. And him and Xavius became friends like 5 years ago. And Senja has not really had a happy, past 10 years. He's really gotten, unfortunately, into some tough situations with people who were taking advantage of him very badly. He suffered a lot of abuse at the hands of roommates and an ex-boyfriend. But I believe he's getting better, because now him and Xavius are dating. They've been in love with each other. I know at least in Xavius's case, he has liked Senja since the first time they really hung out. I don't remember how long Senja has liked Xavius. He did admit that he got feelings for him he realized he loves Xavius, I think, New Year's. But he did admit that he thinks he has loved Xavius for a while. He just doesn't know how long it's been. It was more of a gradual thing than a bam, in your face kind of situation. I think he's getting better simply because he's willing to try. Xavius is trying to help him heal from everything that he went through by teaching him what a healthy relationship should be and trying to help instill more confidence in Senja in terms of their relationship and just Senja as a person. Senja isn't always receptive to it. He does kind of shut it down sometimes because he lacks so much confidence in himself, but a lot of times he is willing to try. So that, to me, is a positive sign in the right direction. Now, this is Aunika. Oh, I didn't mention, these are Yelhsa's characters. These are not my characters. So we're back to Yelhsa's characters for this section of the NPC journaling. But that's Aunika. I don't actually know what Aunika is. I know she's like a snake person. So I don't know if that means she's a Yanti or just some different type of snake. And I probably should have asked Yelhsa before I did this, but I didn't. So Yelhsies, when you see this video, please let me know Aunika and Furaha's race. I think Furaha's human, but Aunika's race. And Aunika is old as fuck. I'm gonna be honest, Aunika's the one I know the least about in this group. And honestly, I think she prefers it that way. I just know she's probably 700 years old or something. She is just one of those people that just be knowing, because she's been around for so long. She was also a professor. I don't know if she's still a professor. I know she used to be a professor and I think a researcher. I may be making that up, but she seems like the researching type. Teehee. She's really cool. She just has this elegance about her, that I really love. Her character design is gorgeous. And then the other woman is Furaha. I love Furaha so much. She is such a sweetheart. She's I think a preschool teacher or some sort of elementary school teacher. And she's like such big sister vibes. Her and Senja were roommates before Senja moved in with Xavius. And then Ez and Aunika were roommates before Ez moved in with Ryu, his boyfriend, which will be the next spread, so look forward to it. But Furaha is such a fucking sweetheart. She just gives such big sister vibes, and she's really sweet. She's also a teacher, and not to get on a tangent, but Ryu, he's really smart. He's genius level smart, but he has a lot of imposter syndrome. So when he moved to Lustile, the city, he was supposed to go to school, but he went one day and got absolutely overwhelmed and hit with a lot of imposter syndrome that he didn't go. Ez, his boyfriend, was like, "You gotta go, blah, 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 blah." and he was not listening. But Aunika and Furaha, because they're both teachers and they saw the potential in Ryu, really kind of pushed him and were like, you really need to go to school. Like, you're kind of wasting your talent. They didn't say that, but, you know, they implied it. That you would be great, you know, and there's no reason to fear going back to school. So they're both really nice people. But yeah, Furaha definitely gives that elder sister vibes. Kaze has interacted with her a couple of times. Kaze being my character. He likes Furaha a lot, and he always hooks her up with some really good wine. Golden Serpent wine, always hooks her up with that. And she has helped Senja a lot. She is the reason why Senja got out of his abusive relationship with his ex-boyfriend, was because Furaha basically had a friend yote the ex-boyfriend out of the city, which is pretty fucking badass. Must say, Furaha, pretty badass. Love that. Unfortunately he is back, so we gotta yote that motherfucker again. But anyways, whatever. Not the point. I don't have a solution to that problem right now, so I can't talk about it. But yeah, Furaha is really sweet. And then the guy with the purple hair is a tiefling, half satyr, I think is what Ez is. And Ez is chaos personified. If you looked up the word chaos in the dictionary, Ez's picture would be there. He is down to clown for anything, which is really why he and Ryu get along really well, because Ryu is also very chaotic. He's very chaotic, which I'll talk more about in the next video with those two. But Ez is, I think he's I don't remember what the specific term Yelhsa used was, but he's like an experimenter. Like, you walk into his house and he's just got shit everywhere. He's got like workbenches and experiment tables like kind of everywhere. He's just really, I guess, loves learning, or loves seeing what happens if I do this with this, which is still learning in a way. And he is so impulsive and so goofy. And that's why I'm cutting out a cauldron here. And you'll see that little potion bottle right there. I cut that out too for Ez, because, you know, like I said, experimentations and stuff. But these people were introduced because of Genesis. So Genesis is also Yelhsa's character, and he is part of the Golden Serpent. And I actually have an art spread that I did of him, if you're interested. It's called The Genesis. I'll link it below if I remember, but if not, I have a playlist of art journaling videos. Anyways, and these are his friends. And Genesis also, Kaze, my character's partner. And these are his friends. So when Kaze came back, he met all of these people, and Jin had made friends on his own, which was kinda insane at the time, because Genesis didn't really have many friends outside of just the Golden Serpent in general. Not just Blood Hunters, but like the Golden Serpent in general did not have friends outside of the Golden Serpent, because he never fucking left. So the fact that he had made friends, Kaze was so proud of him. Kaze was like, wow, I've got to meet your friends. This is great. So yeah, Kaze finally met them, and they're really great. They're really great people. He doesn't have too close of a relationship with any of them. He does really like Furaha, and he does really like Ez, because Ez is so chaotic that he forces Genesis to get out of his comfort zone a lot, and Genesis absolutely fucking hates it. Absolutely hates it. He still really cares about Ez though, but he absolutely hates being forced to like go clothes shopping or go drinking or do something like that, you know. But he does still care about Ez. So Kaze never really got too close with any of them. He likes them all, but it's more so the other NPCs that I have learned about these characters through. So like, for example, Xavius and Senja are obviously dating, and Ez and Ryu are obviously dating. I interacted a little bit more with Aunika recently, and I really only interact with Furaha through Kaze, because I don't think anybody else that I have, any of my characters, know her like that. So, not that I can remember off the top of my head anyways. So they're all pretty cool though, and they're all also Lustile NPCs, so I gotta add them. I gotta put them in. And that gold washi tape I like a lot because to me it looked like scales, which I thought was perfect for Aunika. So I really do like that choice. I'm also very lucky that the roommates the roommates aesthetics go well together. Like Senja and Furaha have a nice pastel palette going on, and Ryu and Aunika. Ryu? Excuse me. Wow. Cocoa Puffs, interchangeable. Honestly, they kind of are. Ez and Aunika have a very nice gold, purple, like dark palette going on. So, was very happy with that because this is another one of those spreads that when I started out, I had no idea what I was going to do. I know I say that a lot. That is, I just open it up and I'm like, whatever happens, happens. So now I'm putting everyone's names on, what are the paint samples? I put everyone's name on paint samples because when I do these NPC pages, I have to put their names so you know who they are. Because I want my journal to tell a story. I want my journal to tell a story of shattered memories and all of the people that live in this world. So when you look through it, you see a story. The only issue is that I have other campaigns that I'm in that have other characters. So in the future, you'll see younger versions of some characters because I'm in a Blood and Blooms campaign, which is the title of it, and that is a bunch of like young blood hunters and their adventures. So it was 30 years before the current timeline. And then I also have T-Lats, which is something completely different. These people still exist in current day, but it is something completely different. And I think that was 60 years before current timeline. So, like, when you see Yelhsa or Marathon, who are straight at the front of the journal, because Yelhsa was my first ever D&D character, I did her first. Or you see Yelhsa or Marathon at the front of my journal, that's T-Lats. So there is mixing of campaigns in here. But for right now, I'm trying to get through all the Lustile NPCs, and then I'll, like, maybe do Blood and Blooms or some more T-Lats or something. But right now, we're trying to focus on... I was upset because Ez's name disappeared, and I was like, oh, out of all of the characters that would give me a hard time, it would be Ez. Love him, though. Love him dearly. He is a riot. An absolute riot. So I'm just trying to focus right now on getting all of the Lustile NPCs. And I also want to have like a separate Blood Hunter section because we got a lot of Blood Hunters. We got a lot of Blood Hunters to get through, both on Yelhsa's side and my side. I did not expect to have this many. Thankfully, I don't right now. Like, they don't have portraits yet. Only a couple of the ones I have portraits, so most of the Blood Hunters you'll see in the early beginnings are Yelhsa's. The only Blood Hunters that I've done spreads for right now that are mine is Akash, and he's part of the Silver Song Guard. I didn't even put him in there because he was a Blood Hunter. I put him in because he was part of the Silver Song Guard. Is there anybody else that I've done? No, I don't think so. Oh, well, next spread you'll see, because after the Ez and Ryu spread, there's Ryu and Cressida, the besties, and Cressida is a Blood Hunter. But I think that's my only other one. If not, punch me in the face, because obviously I forgot somebody and that's absolutely horrible, terrible, and I'm so sorry. Not really, but you know. We're trying to get to the Lustile NPCs now, and I said, hey, we're gonna do a bunch of my NPCs, and then proceeds to have a spread where it's only Yelhsa's NPCs again. But we took a break. We had a couple of mine. It was fine. So I am excited to get through this. I am excited to get through the Lustile NPCs and then see where we end up from there, because there's a lot of great things happening. And I just, like I said, I know I said this already, but for someone who went into this having no idea what I wanted to do, I am so happy with how this turned out. It looks really great. Like, it's simple, but it looks great. It's kind of like my Urena, Koa, and Jin page. It's very, very simple, but it pops. I think this is gorgeous. And I think sometimes I do too much. I'm happy with the result, but sometimes with these spreads I do too much. And I'm glad that this one came out beautiful, even though it's so simple. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.